Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Spooky Town Tales Season 2, Episode 1. Thank you for returning to listen to the show. We have had quite a break, but we're back and we're ready to share more spooky tales with you. It's I, Morgana, the mistress of spook, and joining me in the studio is none other than
Jimmy, the guy who's here.
He's really, really good under pressure. You just drop him in it, he's got a silver tongue.
Yeah, he's slippery like that.
Slippery like that. Yep, so yes, Jimmy Bug is in the studio with me. As per the norm, when I say studio, we all know that we don't have a studio. We're recording from our little house.
Sitting in the comforts of
the bed.
bed.
We're not even on our chairs. We're totally just relaxing on the bed while we record this.
Lounge lizard.
But we will set up a special area because I liked it when we had our special area.
It was nice.
But then we decided to sell the house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good times.
See a comfy area.
See a spooky paraphernalia. Yeah, I think you got to kind of put away your skulls and your jack-o'-lanterns all year round when you're trying to sell a house because it might not fly with a potential buyer.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, we've watered it
Can't
down.
please everyone.
We've gone beige, you know. As beige as I can be anyway. Anyway, welcome back to the show. We did have quite a little break in there. There was an episode we did record in the middle, but it didn't come into fruition. I wasn't happy with it.
Oh, what?
And then I just dumped it.
That was my best work.
Jesus. So tonight we're back with pretty much my favourite and one of the reasons why I started this podcast, some good Aussie spooky ghost stories and hauntings.
Nice.
To share with you all. We are coming into the season to be jolly, but it is also the season of the Holy Ghost.
Oh my goodness.
Like what I did there.
I see what you're doing there.
So it is a bit spooky. I mean, the whole holiday is based on the birth of a... Yeah. Anyway, let's not get into that. But I do, good segue, I do have a story tonight about a miraculous house.
Really?
Yeah. Ooh. In Australia.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So we'll be talking about that, but we've got mainly some good old-fashioned hauntings.
Nice.
We have a story about a miraculous house.
Yes.
In Australia. All of them are in Australia tonight, bar one story, which I had to share, which I have actually taken out of the episode I recorded and never released.
Ah.
Night crawlers, because they're too damn creepy not to share.
Yeah.
And I can't wait another week to share it, because I just love them. I really do.
Yeah.
So welcome back. We are on fire, not literally, although there is a candle burning.
But it's aromatherapeutic.
Aromaphilic. Lime and bergamot. Is it bergamot or bergamot? Because people say bergamot. I think it's bergamot, but maybe I'm saying it wrong. Maybe I'm over-fancifying it.
Or maybe not enough.
Maybe not enough.
Maybe you're too silencing of the
Maybe it's just burger. Correct us. Do you know how to pronounce it? Let us know. Are you comfortable? Do you have your lemon burger candle burning? Good. Do you have a spooky beverage? Or a festive beverage? I love a festive beverage. Prepare. to be spooked. So to start tonight's program, I wanted to share a haunted hotel story. Now, this one is from Childers? I don't know how to say it.
Same style.
It's over east. Sadly, most of the stories I have tonight are from over east. It is hard to come by some West Aussie stories, but if you have any, send me in that direction. I am going to be doing some more urban exploration in the new year, going to some rumoured hotspots. But this particular hotel is over east, and it is rumoured to be very haunted, and not only haunted, but by a ghost called Luke the Spook. Isn't that the best?
Great play.
Luke the Spook. So, over the years, the guests at the hotel have reported seeing and hearing a ghost who they've nicknamed Luke. They usually hear him wandering the halls, walking up and down stairs, and opening locked doors.
Ooh,
Creepy.
that's more creepy.
Apparently, a woman in 1997 claimed to see a man dressed in black and white, sort of turn of the century clothing. She saw him in the linen room right behind her, like full on. So not like a door shutting or, she said she saw him head to toe, turn of the century clothing.
Yeah.
Could it have been Luke the Spook? Or a very dapper gentleman that maybe just got a bit lost in the hotel?
Just lost in the linen room.
He got lost in the... Maybe he just loves... I love linen.
I would expect to find you in a linen room.
I would... If I knew there was a linen room anywhere, you couldn't keep me away, regardless of my outfit. And I do wear some strange outfits.
Yes.
Maybe people have mistaken me for a ghost.
Morgan the...
Dorgan.
Get out of here.
Anyway, let's get back to the spooky times. So, a visitor once noticed that he had scratch marks on the back... that she had scratch marks on the back of her legs after walking up the stairs, as if someone had inflicted the injuries on her. Many other visitors have reported waking up feeling like someone had their arm draped across them when there was no one else in the room.
Ooh.
So it's pretty odd. Another fellow has claims that he felt a man. So this is just a feeling one, this particular one. Said he felt a man inside the bar near in the TAB and poker machine area.
Yeah.
I don't know how reliable this witness is. Obviously spends a lot of time in the TAB poker room areas, but not that I'm saying people that gamble are unreliable. Just, it was just a feeling, this one. Yep. I always take these ones with a massive, giant spoonful of sea salt. They felt chew like buggery.
Right.
He said he did see something walk up the stairs as well. Or a man, he claims it was a man. So the history behind the Grand Hotel in Childers, East Coast people, can you correct me with the pronunciation? I'm doing the old telethon thing again. You say Marangaroo instead of Marangaroo. After surviving a disastrous fire in 1902 that destroyed almost the entire town of Childers, the Grand Hotel was said to be a good luck charm for the town, but this wasn't always the case. In the years following the fire, tragedy struck at the Grand when a woman was rumoured to hang herself in one of the rooms, and a man died there after being thrown from a landing. So apparently he was a snitch for an illegal betting ring. Whoa. Sounds like the Childers Hotel's a bit of a gambling hotspot.
The TMB is more dangerous than I recall.
It's got a tainted history. Luke the Spook might be a quick hand, Luke. Might be she's on fire tonight. So there you go. Yeah. That's the Grand Hotel in Childers. Now, I would just like to point out a theory that I actually was explaining to our 9-year-old today.
Yeah.
Who's very interested in this stuff, and she's very like me. She's very sensible and rationalises everything before she jumps to the silly, over-the-top conclusions. So we were watching a spooky show because she took the day off today.
Yep.
While her sister was at school. She fell in a rose bush last night riding a bike. So I said, you know what, it's not that bad, but you might just need a day off. Just
Take
to
a
hang
day
out.
where you can
Take
get
a day. She's been wanting a day off with just me for all term. Anyway, watching a show, and she and I spent the whole show pausing it and explaining to each other the scientific theory behind the experiences these people were having. And gosh, she's switched on.
Yep.
But one of the theories that I was explaining to her, because one of the claims was being grabbed on the leg
Yeah.
going up the stairs.
Right.
Now, this also occurred in this particular story. A woman felt sensation going up the stairs.
Yeah.
When you get a cramp.
That's an interesting thought.
Now, most of the stories, there's so many saying they felt themselves being grabbed on the stairs. Your body's under pressure going upstairs. Your muscles and your tendons, you're putting pressure on your body, especially if you're not an overly fit person, but even the fittest person climbing upstairs can get cramps because it's not a natural daily, unless you have stairs in your house, it's not a natural movement for your body. When you get a cramp, it does feel
like because everything's pulling, like it's
and it can feel like something grabbing you.
Yeah.
I've had cramps in my back before, and it's felt like someone's touching my back because it's something that I'm not in control of.
Yeah. That's a very interesting thought.
So that's what my theory is with a lot of the claims of people being touched in these locations, especially if it's stairs and ankles and legs. Especially calf muscles. I always get cramps in my calves going upstairs. And if it's not something that happens to people often and it's a random thing, they may very well think it is someone grabbing their calf.
Yeah. That's a very good point. And also, too, even the laying there with what feels like an arm across you or something like that, a good solid nerve twitch in your arm can be very similar.
And if you've been laying crooked, maybe they've just got really shit beds in the hotel and everyone's getting cramped backs.
It's a very good point.
Thank you.
Funny you should say that, though. The story that I had before, which was from one of the work sites I went to, it was with one of the large filtering rooms where it was under construction. What he was doing was going for it wasn't a security check because he wasn't a security guy, but he was basically just going and checking on all the rooms just to make sure there was no weird noises in operation.
Not regarding spooky things.
No, sorry. This
just to clarify.
Completely
regarding
just the working
malfunctions
things
in machinery.
Like that.
Okay.
And it's it was like a massive shed. Solid concrete all the way around, tin roof, like the sort of
industrial area.
Very industrial area.
So it's a new shed.
Yeah, like a tilt-up panel shed.
Okay.
And it was in a room where there wasn't a freakish amount of noise because it was just post-construction, so everything wasn't even commissioned yet. It was just in the beginnings of.
Okay.
And he had gone for a check because he was on the switchboard area to monitor everything, so he just went for a quick walk through, and from what he was saying is he felt reasonably uneased, and he just didn't feel comfortable. Sometimes you get that, at night,
especially if you're in a big shed at night.
In a big shed, middle of the night, on your own. He went to leave the shed, and he was starting to get that uncomfortable feeling, and did the power walk to the door and headed back towards the control room. And then as he'd opened the door and started walking through, he felt something grab him on the back of the leg, like near his ankle, but it actually pulled him back into the door.
Ooh.
And that's where it's a bit different for him. That couldn't as much have been a cramp, like he was saying.
Not if you get pulled
back.
But
he was actually being pulled back into the room.
Oh God.
And he very abruptly got out and slammed the door and ran.
That is awful.
Yeah.
That is so scary. Were the lights off in the shed?
No, that's the thing. It's like a massive industrial shed, fully lit,
That's
everything.
so
And that's why
weird.
it was the weirdest thing for him. He's never...
Has he been back into that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And,
And
you
it's
know,
never happened
it's,
again?
It's a massive big shed, and, you know, there's nothing weird about it. You know, weird energies due to power in the shed. There is quite
It's highly
highly
charged.
charged shed and a large filtering.
No, I would try and sort of rationalise in saying if there's a lot of transformers,
Hmm.
electrical gear, that EMF, electromagnetic field can alter all kinds of feelings in you,
Yeah.
but it can't physically grab
It
you and
can't
pull you
physically
backwards
grab you and move
into
you.
it.
No.
That's quite frightening.
Yeah. So he got quite the shock from that one. And this is, I mean,
This is why I love this show, because most of the time I try and debunk.
yeah.
And I love it when I get one that stumps me. They're my absolute favourite.
Yeah.
Because, yes, I'm very sceptical, but the reason why I'm so fascinated in this is because I'm sceptical.
Because it's not...
I've had things occur
Yeah.
that I cannot explain.
Yeah.
So I'm in the pursuit of finding others who have had similar experiences, because it makes you feel a little bit less crazy,
Well,
but it
just-
also...
It's very interesting.
It's super interesting.
It is.
That is really crazy. And where was that? Was that in WA?
Yeah, that was just over near Binningham.
Right, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Very cool story. Thanks for sharing, Jimmy.
That's all right, mate.
If you guys have any theories out there of what may have caused that to happen, I'd love to hear from you. Have any of you ever had experiences of being grabbed by an unseen force? Let me know. If you have, geez, I'm sorry. It's no fun at all.
It's not cool.
Hey.
It'd be terrifying, personally.
No, awful. I've had the hair stroking thing, but again, that can be put down to, the more I think about it, neck spasms or nerves can cause like that pins and needles feeling down your head when you get a pinched
True.
nerve
When
in
you
your
get
neck.
proper pins and
And
like
pins and-
shivers.
yeah, when you get it down. I've had it like down my head before, and it does sort of go from top to bottom, and it feels like a stroke on your hair. Anyway, another thing to consider if you've ever had your hair stroked by something that's not there. If you want to feel better about it, that's what it could have been. On to the next. So there's a really cool place, just to cut straight into it, called Black Mountain, and the English translation of the indigenous name is Place of Spear. I would try and pronounce it, but I'll probably say it wrong. I'll just have a go.
Go on.
Kalkayaka or Kalkajaka is the indigenous name, but it's a mass of black granite boulders in tropical North Queensland, and there's four significant sites, religious sites to the local people. There's a cave where the flying foxes are found. There's a rock shaped like a kangaroo. There's a stone that the cockatoos call home. And it's quite a spooky, taboo place for the local people. The legend of the Black Mountain has assumed extra significance when the European settlers arrived, because apparently colonists and their horses and cattle would just disappear into the gaping crevices and boulders. It was really, really common.
Yeah.
Just disappeared through the cracks.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's quite
That's pretty cool.
spooky place. The Black Mountain.
Yeah. Sounds really cool. Like granite would be awesome to
Yeah.
see massive black granite.
And, it's home to flying foxes. That's
Yeah.
so cool. So that's another cool place we have in Australia. If you're into historically spooky and cool places, check that one out. Put that, if you're doing a around Australia trip, chuck that one on your list.
Absolutely.
And on that note, real quick Dreamtime story that I love called Why the Crocodiles Roll. On the north coast of Western Australia, there was a very unhappy young woman named Minnawi, who always started trouble among her tribe. She's what she'd call a piece of work. One day, she was in a massive fight, and a man grabbed Minnawi and rolled her around in the dirt to restrain her. Intent on revenge, she transformed into a crocodile and waded in the water to give that bloke a taste of his own medicine. And that's why crocs continue to roll their prey today.
That is pretty cool.
Isn't it great?
Yeah.
I love it. So there's a little bit of a little Dreamtime story for you. We're trying to get back into our Aussie roots here, and we've got such a bloody awesome country. So much history here.
Yeah, there is.
And not enough emphasis on our Indigenous history. There is just so much incredible stuff that you can read about that goes on in our country. But I'm going to now completely contradict myself and share with you an overseas story tonight, the only overseas story that I have tonight. But on the note of traditional legends and things like that, this one has roots in Native American folklore.
Cool.
So they've discovered, but only after the fact of these things being captured on camera.
Oh, cool.
So in Fresno, on a home security camera facing the front yard, a very peculiar looking creature was captured walking very oddly across like the grassed area in front of the property. Now this thing can only be described as a tiny head with legs.
This was the one you showed me before, wasn't it?
Yes. So
cool.
So this video circulated the internet, but it was such low quality no one could really yay or nay its authenticity.
Yep.
There was no way they could disprove it. There was no way they could prove it was legit. It looks as though it's wearing some sort of fabric white cloak, but it's split where the legs are.
Yeah.
It's very peculiar. Very, very peculiar. Really eerie and weird.
Yeah.
But then, not long after this footage, there's a couple that live on the border of Yosemite National Park. They have a property.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
They got jack of tourists coming along their property line, but you live next to a national wonder.
So you're
it's gonna happen. So they were a retired couple who were just a bit pissed off with people. I understand in your retirement, but look, we can't all live next to a national park and have no one visit it. What kind of deluded universe are you living in? So they'd set up cameras to just
keep an eye on
people when they went there, which I'd totally get. And also I think it would have been to be able to take it and, these people.
Yeah.
But anyway, the cameras were pointing towards where the park starts, sort of thing, like just past their property line.
Yeah.
And sure enough, they captured not one, but two of the exact same thing captured in the Fresno video.
So cool.
So weird.
It's pretty cool.
It's cool, but it's very odd.
Yeah.
Because it's not like your Slender Man or your, all these other internet videos that circulate that are completely just, you can tell they've been constructed.
Yeah.
This isn't an ominous or a menacing thing. It's this strange little creature with a head and two legs coming out of said head.
Yeah.
Very awkwardly.
It's all legs.
It's so strange. Look it up. Look up the Yosemite National Park one, because that one's way cooler. It could be an elaborate hoax. It could very much be puppets. I don't know.
It's hard in this day and age where
there's CGI. Most people can do anything from their phone, let alone without an editing studio. But one thing that has got everyone sort of going, what the hell?
It would be hard to do. Really hard to do what they did.
Yeah. But the biggest thing that everyone's sort of scratching their head about this whole thing is that there are sculptures from hundreds and hundreds of years ago by local Native American tribes of a creature that's just a head with legs, like giant big wood carvings.
Yeah.
Very strange. Very
coincidental.
Very, very strange. And then the folklore behind that is that there are these things
that
with the legs
carved,
and the head come from another planet.
Yeah.
And they're here and they're dormant and they're waiting to help us when we fuck it up.
Yeah.
This is the story from thousands of years ago.
It's a bit convenient.
It is. And the fact that they're showing up now too. But there's no such thing as global warming. But we're not going to get into that.
Don't start it.
Gosh. By the way, that was me being sarcastic because we all know that global warming is real.
Yeah.
Anyway, don't want to open a can of worms on the show. don't want to get political because we're here to talk spooky, and if I start, I won't stop. So let's change the subject and get back to ghosts. Something a bit more rational, shall we?
Much better.
I just had pop into my head while we were just on pause for a moment. That song from, I believe it was on the trailer for Blair Witch Project.
What?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they re-released it. It's from the 80s. I think it might be Kraftwerk. I can't remember. Write in and tell me. But it's... I'm going to sing it to you.
Do it.
This is what you want.
What?
This is what you'll get.
Yeah.
This is what you want. This is what you'll get.
You weirdo.
I know, but it's been in my head. It keeps popping into my head. And it was. They used it in the Blair Witch Project at the end during the credits.
Well, there you go.
And it's really spooky. It sticks with you when you're...
Ah.
Whoa.
Sorry, it just scared me.
It scared you. He dropped his bomber nearly in my 2 millimetres of tea. My cold tea that I've been drinking for an hour. Gross. That's what happens when you're a mum. All your drinks are lukewarm.
Yep.
Even when your kids get older.
Even cool drinks.
Kill drinks. Can of kill. Anyway, we don't drink cool drinks, you know that. No fun in this house. Peppermint tea all the way. Anyway. Woo! We're in our 30s. Yeah! Stop it. Don't remind me. Okay, let's get serious now. Now I'm going to share with you the story of the House of Miracles.
Of what?
Miracles.
Oh.
Le House
Of mirror glass.
of Miracles. Miracles. I'm trying to be fancy.
Miracles?
Miracles. Miracles.
Oh, miraculous.
Miracles. So in the Sydney suburbs, there is a small house where miracles are said to happen. Sydney suburbs, just picture it.
Yep.
Holy Spiritu Santo in the Sydney suburbs. Clink.
Interesting.
Anyway, I will continue. In 2006, 3 months after their 17-year-old son died in a car accident, George and Lena Tanos were shocked to notice the walls of their deceased son's room were mysteriously weeping aromatic oil.
Oh.
Very odd. Convinced the oil was of supernatural origin, they truly believed the oil was sent from heaven by their son to tell them that he was okay. That's how they interpreted it.
Fair enough.
News spread, as it does with these things.
Yep.
The faithful came a-knocking. They noticed that the oil combined with prayer had healing properties.
Oh, wow.
Apparently.
Right.
I'm very sceptical of this. Pilgrims continued coming to the house, and then so they just decided we're going to turn it into a 24-hour chapel. So this house in suburban Sydney became like a holy chapel, 24-hour chapel for pilgrims to come to be healed by this miraculous oil.
People rubbing themselves
on the walls. And it could very well be something really gross.
Who knows? Anyway,
a Catholic priest, convinced it was a miracle, decided to, even though the father was facing criminal charges, so he was undergoing, what was it for? I'm pretty sure it was for forging. Yeah, it was forgery.
Okay.
The father, so even though that was going on, everyone still was like, this is legit.
Yeah.
So a Catholic priest decided he would start anointing people in the oil. And yeah, it just got well out of control.
Yeah.
It became like
Wow.
the Holy Santos.
Holy smokes.
Holy smokes, literally.
Yeah.
So anyway, the water was tested and it was turned out to be a combination of water and oil.
Right.
They didn't really specify what type of oil, just it was an oil mixed in with the water.
Right.
The skeptics that visited the house claimed it literally just looked like someone had just rubbed
Oil on the wall.
oil all over the walls.
Oh, weird.
Sounds like a King Pro scam to me.
Yeah. I'm in the same...
Or a major coping mechanism with grief.
Yeah. It's got to be traumatic, especially
It'd be
losing...
awful. It'd be awful.
What did you say? He was 17? Yeah.
In a car wreck.
Yeah, not an easy time.
You would go a bit... You would be searching for hope anywhere, wouldn't you?
You certainly would.
Yeah, so I can see where it could have taken a turn too far. Might have started with...
Something simple.
What is that? Something stripping... Oh, it's in his room. It must be this, and maybe they're like...
Yeah.
Maybe they added to it. Do you know what I mean?
I know
could have just been something like a little... You know, it happens. When you lose people, you look for signs in things.
In anything.
You wait to hear from them or a sign that they're okay. And everyone has different ways of coping with grief. That, in my opinion, perhaps was what happened in this situation. Yeah. Then again, I never went and visited. I wouldn't know. I am very fascinated with stigmata and with these crying statues. Completely fascinated by it. If you have any stories that you know of, listeners, to do with holy experiences, I'd love to hear from you, because I'm very interested in them. Very.
Well, they are interesting.
They're very interesting.
Yeah.
Coming up for Christmas, we're getting holy moly up in here. Speaking of strange miracles, do you remember the time I grew Halloween pumpkins? And then one of the pumpkins had the word 2 written on it?
Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
That was weird.
That was cool.
It was really cool. Yeah, I grew pumpkins, and like it grew in perfect writing.
Yeah.
With like, you know how they get the little sort of bumpy ridges on them? Mm-hmm. It grew the letters T, W, and O. And so we wondered, what the hell does it mean?
Me and Jill said, stop at 2 children.
2 children, that's it. And we took care of that. It would have been terrifying if, like, the next pumpkin along... I checked all the pumpkins. I was like, is there any more words? Yeah. Is it a puzzle? Would have been terrifying if it was 2. Will die tonight. Thankfully, it was just 1 word, 2.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just telling me that 2 is enough. 2 babies. Anyway.
Who knows?
It
was cool, though.
Could be just, I don't know, their favourite number. Yeah. Pumpkins might have...
You still got a photo of that, don't you?
Somewhere.
So cool.
Anyway, any weird things like that ever happened to you? What? We had something else. There was another plant...
a few things.
Or something that had writing on it. Do you remember?
I do.
Like, oh my God, this is like the time we had the pumpkin that had the 2
I do. It was at mealtime, whenever it was. I remember.
Because I do try and grow a fair bit of food if I can. And there was another vegetable or something that had a letter or a word on it.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
But that's what
magic garden.
About the 2 things.
Yeah. We have a magic garden. Do you have a magic garden? Do you have weird plants trying to spell and tell you stuff? I do talk to my plants. Maybe that's them trying to communicate. Listen to how crazy I sound. I'm not crazy, I swear. Anyway, on to another story.
It's finally time for the special jacket.
Let's call the man in the white coat. She's friends with plants, for God's sakes. It's gotten out of hand. Anyway, let's get on with another story. A good old haunted ship captain story. I think will do the trick.
Nice.
Lady Elliot Island, another Aussie hotspot for hauntings. Apparently very haunted, incredibly haunted. Before it became a family-friendly resort, Lady Elliot Island is scattered with flickers of darkness and despair, so it says in this article here.
Oh.
So apparently a lot of dark shit went on the island. Lady Elliot Island isn't the only lady on the island, with 2 female ghosts on the island apparently that appear at all hours of the night. The first was Phoebe Phillips, who was the lighthouse keeper's daughter, who died of pneumonia when she was 30. Many visitors to the island have claimed to see her.
Yeah.
The most active one, though, is Susanna, who was married to Thomas McKee and had 4 sons. Then they moved to Lady Elliot Island, but she found she was very miserable there.
Oh.
She didn't like the living conditions. She was very isolated, very depressed. When her youngest son was sent to boarding school, she couldn't handle the isolation anymore. And in 1907, in April, she put her best clothes on and she jumped off the old guano loading jetty below the lighthouse and died.
Oh.
Her husband buried her beside Phoebe Phillips when she washed ashore. And so the theory is that she's been trapped in the place she hated and she was trying to get away.
Yeah.
And so now Susanna apparently was first spotted by lighthouse keeper Arthur Bumpton. Bumpton, good name. I now pronounce you Mrs. Bumpton. I'm so proud.
He was never married.
That's why he remained a bachelor for the rest of his life. The family lineage died when Arthur died.
Died at the...
Tough break, Arthur. Wait! Stop! Wait. Arthur Bumpton and his daughter, Margaret. He had a daughter.
Don't.
No, there's a Bumpton still around. So this is in 1930.
Says the bug.
The bugs! I know. And my maiden name is Peck, so I've got nothing to talk about. Anyway.
As you were.
Arthur and his daughter Margaret in 1930 spotted a female figure dressed in turn-of-the-century clothing walking between the lighthouse and the cottages behind it. His daughter Arthur and his daughter, I should say, left the island. There was a captain of the ship who was showing them some old photos of the people who'd once lived on Lady Elliot Island. Both identified Susanna McGee in the photographs as the lady they'd seen that night some 10 years earlier. So that was 30 years after she died.
Yeah.
They saw her walking around. Now, I'm assuming that Lady Elliot Island is isolated and the only residents would be the ones living there.
Yeah, I was just trying to think. I've never heard of Lady Elliot Island.
It might just be one of those ones that's there purely for the lighthouse.
Oh, of course. Yeah, there'd be tons of those.
There wouldn't be anyone willingly living there unless they were there for that very purpose.
Exactly.
It's quite a common thing that I have heard with lighthouses is people get really depressed because of the isolation, especially back in the days before internet and mobiles and all that crud. A lot of suicides.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not to mention, I mean, you've got shipwrecks that occur. All kinds of stuff.
To deal with
as
well.
No, good.
Nope.
So lots of haunted lighthouses out there. Maybe we should do a haunted lighthouse episode. I'm sure we could. Because there's a few. I think there's one. No, that's the Albany.
There's two down south. But I don't know if they're classed as haunted.
We'll find out for you, folks. Have you ever heard of a spooky haunted lighthouse in our very state of Western Australia? Or perhaps you've been on holidays somewhere and had a spooky encounter with a spectre? We would love to hear your stories. And we may very well give you a bit of closure and be out. Excuse me. Sorry, I just choked on a spectre.
Wow.
I know. That was me choking on my own spit.
Yeah.
Something that happens sometimes to all of us, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yes. To round up tonight's program, I'm going to share with you another small town that's haunted. Another small town haunting.
Ooh.
Picton. Not Picton near where we live.
Just over there.
Not that Picton.
Different one.
A small town southwest of Sydney. Quaint and charming.
Mm.
Yep.
Sounds lovely.
Named after one of the generals who fought at Waterloo.
Oh.
Yep. But they say the place is crawling with ghosts.
Ooh.
Very haunted, ladies and gentlemen. So the stories go. They claim that it's such a lovely place. They claim... Sometimes I hear myself and go, what the hell? What's wrong with you? Anyway, they claim that the residents love the joint so much, they stick around after death.
Wow.
They can't let it go. They just love it.
It's a good claim.
So there's spectres seen wandering the towns. the residents have claimed to see strange spectral ladies that move shopkeepers' signs. Now this one would be fucking creepy. Invisible swimmers.
Visible swimmers.
By the railway, is it viaducts? Is that what they're called? Adequate pipes. So people have seen, we've been talking about the spectral ladies that move the shopkeeper signs, the invisible swimmers. Apparently in the maternity hospital, ghostly crying babies are heard.
Whoa.
And an evil matron who tries to strangle people at night.
Oh, that's not so cool.
Now, I put a little side note here on my notes, just because I like to. This is just my brain, the way it works. I've just put, so they've called her an evil matron that tries to strangle people at night, and I've just put, what if she's just trying to make some new friends? Like, as in, she's not meaning to kill you to be mean, she's killing you because she wants you to be there with her.
Well, that makes sense.
What if she's just like, I'm not evil, I'm just horribly lonely. And look, it won't hurt for long, and then you can hang out with me with all the crying babies. Yeah, if I got stuck in a hospital with crying babies, I'd be pretty crabby too. And I'd probably try and kill someone so they can at least help with the crying babies.
But if you're like to the point where you can strangle people, wouldn't you just like write them a note or something?
And just say, what, top yourself so I don't have to do it?
Anything.
Well, can you help with these crying babies? Can you leave a bottle of ghost whiskey? Help me get through the night.
Little help.
Little help, please. Hey, call the rescue mediums. I need to cross over.
It's time.
You've got to watch. Okay, little tip. We keep getting distracted. I'm sorry, folks, but this is gold. Okay, you need to hear this.
Okay.
There is the worst paranormal show on TV. I watched it on YouTube. It is the worst, but the funniest. It's so entertaining. It's two women. It's called Rescue Mediums. If you want to laugh your ass off at two women getting completely carried away and just making shit up and having Canadian people believe them, watch it. I laughed my ass off every single episode. Fair. Especially when there's one of them that always gets possessed by the ghost and she's like... It's so good. Anyway, check it out. So, aside from the matron who may very well just be trying to make some friends,
yeah,
the jukebox in the Imperial Hotel in Picton plays on its own, even when not plugged in.
Well, that's handy.
Handy if there's a power outage, you can still have a party.
True.
Thank you, ghosts.
Well, there you go.
There are children that haunt the cemetery. A little boy and a little girl. Apparently they're seen ducking behind tombstones. That's pretty creepy.
That is creepy.
How would you feel if you're like, you know, just going for a nighttime stroll in the graveyard, not expecting anything spooky if you're in a graveyard at night,
Not even once.
and then you see children hiding and peeking their heads out and ducking behind tombstones? Pretty creepy.
Pretty creepy.
But the most haunted place in Picton is the Mushroom Tunnel,
The Mushroom Tunnel?
which is an abandoned railway tunnel.
Oh.
The ghost of Emily Bollard is said to reside in said tunnel. One night in 1916, she decided to take a shortcut through said tunnel and was greeted by an oncoming train,
Oh, no.
which then dragged her mangled corpse in the cowcatcher all the way to the next station,
Oh, dear.
where they obviously then went, oh no, we've hit something.
Mm-hmm.
There's a mangled girl on the cowcatcher.
No.
So apparently people see her like running for her life
Yeah.
in the tunnels. How sad is that?
It's really sad.
Emily. So they need rescue mediums to go there as well.
Sort that joint out.
Yep. So thanks again for tuning in for more Spooky Town tales. We'll be back next week. And be sure to stay spooky, folks. This is Morgan.
And Jimmy.
Bye.